Let's make some crunchy spring rolls or popiah sayur. They're chock full of veggies and go perfectly with this homemade sweet chili sauce. The filling is very simple. It's just a few veggies. So first, let's peel one large red onion and chop finely into small cubes. Then we need 4 cloves of garlic, which we're going to chop finely as well. For a bit of spice, get 2 red chilies and slice finely. If you can handle the heat, feel free to swap these for a spicier variety. Next, we're going to need 2 large carrots. We want to cut these carrots into thin matchsticks. Alternatively, the carrots can be grated in a box grater. Even though it's faster, I'm not the biggest fan of that method though because of the excess moisture that we tend to get when grating vegetables. We want to keep the filling fairly dry so the spring rolls don't end up soggy. Our next vegetable is this guy right here. If you've never seen this before, it's a jicama. In Malaysia, this vegetable is called ubi sengkuang. The flesh looks like a potato and has a lighter sweet flavor and can be eaten raw. Just like the carrot, we want to cut the sengkuang into matchsticks. For this recipe, we need 200 grams. Now the very last thing we need to cut are a large handful of spring onions. These are super easy. Just cut the roots off and chop roughly. And that's it. We don't need a chopping board anymore. We can clean up the space and prepare for cooking. Now heat up a large pan on medium heat and pour in 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. Once it's hot and shimmering, add the onions in and allow to sweat and cook until just starting to take on color. Then toss in the carrots and sengkuang and fry until they shrink slightly, about 5 to 8 minutes. At this stage, we can season with some salt to help draw out the moisture. I'm starting with 2 teaspoons of salt first. Once the veggies look like they're starting to dry up, add the garlic, chilies, and fry. Then we can add in 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 2 teaspoons of mushroom seasoning, and 1 tablespoon of vegetarian oyster sauce. Next, we're going to add 250 grams of pre-baked tofu crumbles for some extra protein and bite. You can also use plant-based mince, hydrated textured vegetable protein, or shiitake mushrooms. Since the tofu has been pre-cooked, we can add them in now along with the spring onions. Give it a good stir and turn off the heat. The filling needs to cool down completely before wrapping. We don't want it to sit and steam as that will create more moisture, so let's spread it onto a large plate or baking tray to let it air dry and cool at the same time. While that's happening, we can soak our glass noodles. We need about 40 grams. Place it in a heat-proof bowl and pour boiling water over the top and soak for 10 minutes. Then drain and rinse in cold water and set aside for later. Before we wrap the spring rolls, let's make the homemade sweet chili dipping sauce. For this, we need 15 red chilies. Chop roughly and add into a blender. Into this, add 5 bird's eye chilies. Then add in 10 cloves of garlic along with 85 ml or 1/3 of a cup of water. Blend together briefly, just until the chilies and garlic are chopped but not until they turn to mush. Transfer the chili blend into a pot. Sprinkle in 1½ teaspoons of salt and 200 grams of white sugar. Then we're going to pour in 150 ml or 3/4 of a cup of white vinegar. With the heat on medium-low, simmer gently while stirring every now and again. Make sure to scrape down the edges often to prevent anything from burning to the sides of the pot. We want to cook this for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the garlic loses its raw and sharp taste. Once that happens, make a cornstarch slurry by mixing 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with a bit of water. Then stream it into the pot and stir. The mix will slowly thicken and turn glossy. Turn off the heat and allow it to cool completely. As it cools, it will thicken even further into that sweet chili sauce consistency that we all know and love. To wrap the spring rolls, we need some spring roll sheets or kulit popiah. Prepare them by slowly peeling one by one. It takes some time, so pre-peel the sheets before wrapping. Have the filling ready and we can begin by placing around 1½ tablespoons of filling on one end of the sheet. Then arrange a small bunch of glass noodles on top. Pick up the sheet and tuck the filling in while rolling all the way up to the middle. Then fold the edges in neatly. We want it to be snug but not too tight. Finally, roll all the way to the end. Then to seal, wet our hands with some water and brush it on the flap and press down. Once they're all done, we can start frying. Yes, I'm using a face mask to protect myself. You can never be too careful when deep frying. Try to keep the oil between 180 to 185 degrees Celsius or 356 to 365 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to cook the spring rolls for about 4 to 5 minutes until they're evenly golden brown on all sides. They will continue cooking once they're out of the oil, so make sure to take them out the moment they turn golden. Drain on the wire rack and we're ready to serve. Enjoy hot with the homemade sweet chili sauce.